Out there already starting your day. Thank you for getting your day going with us as we help you plan for the big events in your neighborhood.
Hey, no worries. We got you covered. The Weather Channel has you covered from coast to coast, and it's spots really across the southern plains like Troop, Texas. Population 2006, waking up to showers, soaking the early morning commute. Kind of a gloomy start to the day, no doubt.
Yes. Oh, boy, this is the scene across a lot of northeastern Texas.
Yes, indeed.
Again, for the fifth day in a row, we've had these morning complexes of storms. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
We're also going to be talking about the heat today.
Yes, indeed. Now, if you wanted to go to a place where you had just the opposite, you had rising temperatures, but if you wanted a touch of a little bit of winter, where would you go?
The mountains.
Yes, you would. Name this spot right here. Arapahoe Basin, extending the ski season to about, I guess, the middle of the month.
This is wild. They're still skiing, despite the fact that it's warming up out there. But they've had such a great snowpack this year, so they're extending their ski season to June 16th.
My goodness. And with all the snow that went down on the season, we got to think about something going up. We're talking rockets, all eyes on Cape Canaveral. Not just because the temperatures are going up, but a rocket ship taking off. We're talking about Boeing Starliner on the launch pad.
On the launch pad, ready to go. So launch is about 2 hours away, 10:52. We're going to be covering it live right here.
Absolutely.
On the show.
And they've got a lot of room because in the Starliner, they have, let's see, room for about 7 people. There's only 2.
Right.
So
well,
they
this
can
is the test flight.
Kind of stretch out a little bit, which is not too bad. Yeah. So let's blast off with
class.
Oh, you better believe that. Hey, let's blast off with today's big deal.
Good. The waves rolling in very lightly, indicating the winds aren't that strong either. But let's sail south now down Florida's Atlantic coast, where I am virtually standing in West Palm Beach. Nice place to be as well this morning, right? Spectacular out there, mainly blue skies, couple of clouds. As we head into the latter half of the week, storms will steal the sunshine and maybe ruin some of those plans at the beach. We are expecting to see them hang around through the weekend. We're going to start to get into, you know, the drill. You kind of set your watch by it, right? We get into thunderstorms into the afternoon. The sea breeze pushes in. Sea breeze sounds so nice. It cools you off if you're along the coast, but just inland, that sea breeze can actually help trigger some thunderstorms. So we will see that in the forecast here, especially on the east coast of Florida, as we look at today, again tomorrow, and then Thursday night here, maybe some lingering in the West Palm Beach area. And there's a couple of spots we'll watch for that. Watching shower chances down through Miami as well, maybe around Fort Lauderdale. We'll watch perhaps some of them make their way inland, but probably not reaching all the way over to the west coast. So you're high and dry there in Tampa and down through Fort Myers and Naples. Not expecting a lot of activity. You can see that area outlined here, and tomorrow there is a chance that we get some showers up along the Space Coast, watching around Melbourne and towards Cape Canaveral, Port St. Lucie, West Palm Beach, again in that risk of some scattered showers. We're going to talk about it in our future radar, and just not to say exactly where the storms are going to be, but just to give you a sense of where they're going to start flaring up as we get through the latter afternoon hours, inland areas. And sometimes you get sea breezes from both coasts, the west coast and the east coast, that end up colliding in the middle, and that ends up being the stormiest spot. And that's something we'll keep an eye on again on Thursday, happening here down in the peninsula with some scattered shower chances into the evening, maybe more along the coast at this point. We do have a front that's dropping down as well. It'll be a weaker front at this point, but you kind of see signs of that way up at the top there. That'll get you some shower chances into the Panhandle, maybe around Jacksonville. So we'll keep an eye on that too, to be influencing your weather. Now, you're hoping for a shower or something to break the heat, especially when you see what's coming our way. It's going to be in the 90s all this week in Orlando, mid-90s for you until we get to the weekend, and then we heat up to the upper 90s, 99 degrees, even by Florida standards, inland Florida standards, Reynolds. This is really hot for them.
Oh, gosh, I mean, it's nauseating just to see. Goodness gracious. Well, check this out. Rainy days are going to outweigh the dry.
Anticipating that kind of level of ground shaking with Artemis, too.
Yeah. Now, I know, and our viewers know, you've seen a lot of the launches.
I've seen a couple rocket launches, but nothing like that.
What was the most incredible one that you, what's the most memorable one to you?
Well, honestly, being there for Artemis when it didn't launch, because just the anticipation.
It builds up, doesn't it?
The anticipation builds up. So, it's all part of it. Yes, the launch is, of course, the most exciting part of it, but learning about that particular rocket and learning about the launch and waiting for it to happen, I mean, you really can't, you can't create that.
You want to hear something terrible? I lived in Orlando for 3 years. 3 years, had every opportunity to go to the Space Coast and watch a launch. I never saw a single one. Oh. Now, I saw them from the parking lot where I worked. You could see them going up. It got to the point where you just become flippant about, I'll make it. But there's a life lesson there. When you have the opportunity, you've got to take those shots.
Yeah.
Got to.
Well, coming up a little later on the show, we're going to talk with a rocket designer, Lauren Savage. He's going to join us and talk about today's launch here, at some of the pitfalls that they've gone through already, why this is actually the third attempt. And we'll talk about what is she learning about designing rockets of the future.
Pretty incredible. incredible, no doubt about it. Plus, let's see, comments, if you'd like to share them with us, you certainly can. Use the hashtag YesTV and just join in on the conversation.
All right, well, this takes place at 10:52 Eastern Time, and right now, weather conditions are favorable.
Yeah, well, we want to bring in our spacecraft design engineer, Lauren Savage, to talk more about the mission and what this means for the future of space travel. Lauren, thanks so much for being with us this morning. This is such an exciting day for space enthusiasts. Can you walk us through the purpose of today's launch and what Boeing is hoping to achieve?
Yes, absolutely. Well, thanks for having me. So today's launch is the crew.
It's really exciting. And Lauren, you're a rocket designer, which I think is the coolest gig ever. What do you all learn from each one of these launches about how you're going to design the rocket of the future?
There's so much to learn. There are so many lessons learned, and we're still
Rough weekend ahead, Jen.
Well, thanks for getting your day going with us as we help you plan for the big events in your neighborhood.
Yeah, we've got a lot to share with you today. The Weather Channel is covered from coast to coast, and it spots across the southern plains like Troop, Texas, where people are waking up to some soaking conditions. There it is. There it is.
You come down,
Right
everything
on cue.
just
Sure enough.
gets soaked again. Every 5 days in a row, we've had these big overnight clusters of storms.
Texas really cannot catch a break. I mean, it does seem like we're still in that pattern, but maybe we're going to see a different pattern, more of a heat story coming up.
I know. Be careful what you wish for, right?
Yes,
Because the heat is a big story. We've been talking about that a lot. But before we get to the heat, how about winter fun is actually still a thing out there.
Oh, yes, indeed. Yeah, Breckenridge. I mean, what a glorious story spot.
Snowtop Mountains, beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, it's just incredible. Breckenridge ski season starts on June 14th, nearby.
The summer season.
Yes, thank you very much. And also, Arapahoe Basin is pushing to June 16th. But
Yeah.
eventually, a lot of that snow goes into your streams. Good fly fishing in this part of the world.
Yeah.
Just laying that out there for you. Yeah.
It's good fishing, but also good for fire season, too. So it's good
That's
to see
very
this
true.
impact. But I can't believe they're still skiing at A Basin. Jeez.
Yeah, they are. I mean, we have a lot going on. People trying to go down the slope. Meanwhile, things are going up, too, especially, hopefully, in Cape Canaveral. Cape Canaveral, rather, in this, because temperatures are rising, but so will this rocket ship. You see the crew of 2. Jen, normally they seat 7, but plenty of room there in this cozy compartment.
Plenty of, although they're pretty tight and cozy in their spots for ready for liftoff here. So, launch is 10:52, so we are less than an hour away.
That's right.
Where the launch window opens, I should say.
Yes, indeed. And you've got a tremendous crew that's trying to get this rocket up into the heavens, and we're going to keep our fingers crossed right now. Weather looks pretty darn good.
Yes, it does.
Indeed. Let's blast off to today's big deal.
Some of the same spots day after day get that chance of rain. Thanks for getting your day going with us as we help you plan for all the big events in your neighborhood.
That's right. The Weather Channel has you covered from coast to coast. It's spots across the southern plains like Troop, Texas, that are waking up to some showers early. The commute, not exactly the greatest one, but considering you've got 2,006 people that call Troop home, I think you're going to be okay. Yeah, it doesn't get really crazy out there in terms of your traffic from time to time, but atmospherically, different story.
Oh, yeah. Traffic up in the sky was pretty busy. So those clouds rolling in. They're really, actually not just rolling in, they're slamming south here through Houston right now. So we'll look at that in a moment. Also talking a lot about the heat.
Yeah.
It is extreme in Texas and now in California, but there are still spots where you can go skiing.
Be still my heart. Oh my gosh,
that.
isn't that incredible? I mean, this fantastic Breckenridge reports 45 degrees. It'll be a little bit cooler up on those ridge lines, and the gusts have been quite strong.
Yeah, so you're not skiing there. Their summer season actually starts June 14th, but nearby at A Basin, Arapahoe Basin, they pushed their ski end date to June 16th. Is that a record for them? I don't know.
It's got to be close, you would think.
It's had such a great snowpack.
Yeah, I mean, quite the schedule they're going to have, and quite a schedule we were able to fulfill today at Cape Canaveral. I mean, everything worked perfectly. I mean, not just because things were great. Things were a go. Skies cobalt blue, and check out the show here at the launch pad. Wow.
Boeing's Starliner took off. It was about an hour ago now. They're on their way. They separated from the second stage, so just the Starliner spacecraft itself. They did their burn to get into the orbit insertion, and so they're on track, literally getting in orbit to go to the ISS.
So they got the propulsion. It's going to take them about, I guess, the total from start to finish, about 24 hours till they dock.
Right.
They get in, they get to stretch around, float around a little bit, say hi, and they're up there for over a week, I think, right?
Yeah, and they come back the 14th.
All right, there you go. Man, quite the show and quite the blast off. Well, let's blast off to today's big deal where storms
fantastic. Now, thanks to our virtual view, I could be hanging out in Miami. It looks great so far today. It's been a little warm and humid, but we are going to see a few more clouds out there later today, and those will lead to some showers and storms. So we could get the rain showers coming in through the afternoon. Temperatures will be heating up, kind of feeding into it. You kind of know the drill here. Sometimes you welcome this, right, to give you a break from that heat. Let's look at the forecast, Miami, with today the chance of storms. We get you into tomorrow, the chance as well, and it'll mainly be afternoon and early evening kind of deal. So it'll take the heating of the day to try and drive that. The sea breeze will play a role. We'll see that, especially inland areas, more so than right at the coast. Watching that for today. I think both coasts really, look at West Palm, a dry forecast. Look at Naples, a dry forecast. But in between, we could see some storms. Those sea breezes colliding from West Coast and East Coast. Here they can put on quite the show there. Then we look at tomorrow's forecast, and we will watch again for that onshore flow and the sea breeze to kick in and give us the risk of some thunderstorms, really from Miami right up to the Space Coast. So today was a better launch day weather-wise here. Tomorrow, we do increase that risk of getting into more showers and thunderstorms. And something else happens tomorrow with our weather, too. So I'll show you that in a moment. But for now, looking at, the chance of some pop-up showers and storms today. Tomorrow brings the showers and storms over the Panhandle, Destin, around Panama City. We've got thunderstorms coming your way through the daytime hours. It's basically a trough or a front that's dropping in, and that will influence the weather that we've been seeing here over the peninsula as well. Maybe help draw up a little more moisture. If anything, it's going to make it more humid. You'll feel it. This 99 is really tough on Saturday in Orlando. It's bad enough that it's going to be 97 tomorrow, but 99 both Saturday and Sunday, and the dew point is going to be up there in the upper 70s. It's just going to feel so sticky. We do have a heat risk that I want to warn you about here into Orlando and over towards Tampa, also in southeast Florida too, around Miami and Fort Lauderdale. The heat risk is running high and major, if not even extreme, in a few areas. So this new product offered by the National Weather Service here is very specific to local areas. It matters if you're used to this kind of heat, and it matters how many days in a row you've had it. And we've been in quite the stretch here. So this kind of heat takes its toll on your body. Friday, with these hot temperatures and high dew points, it's going to feel like 101 in Orlando, 104 in West Palm Beach. And by the way, the temperatures that we'll see Saturday, we could be tying some records. Orlando, one of those spots, 99, would tie the old record. Reynolds?
Okay, let's show you what to expect in terms of...
Thank you so much for sharing that. I can feel the whole experience.
Yeah, I mean, it always comes back. I think people say it's otherworldly, and it's life-changing. You remember life before, during, and then after. It's a pivotal moment in your life.
Alex Wallace and I have had the discussion many times. Are we going to get to the point where we just consider these routine? Because, like a plane taking off.
Yeah, or driving into work in the morning.
But it's hard to imagine that they could ever become that routine.
Yeah, I mean, the drive... Oh, you meant in space. I thought you meant like the drive in Atlanta.
That's
it can be tough.
No, they're exceptional. Speaking of exceptional, Alex Wilson, she's in the studio.
Yeah. She's in the studio. We can hear her off in the distance. We hear her with her ears, but we feel her.
There she is. Weather
right
Unfiltered.